Awaken to hair growth. Awaken to hair growth because there is possibility to get your hair back. Awaken to hair growth because we're not told that we're able to conquer and overcome alopecia. Awaken to hair growth because I want to be a positive light and beacon for you because I've healed my alopecia and now I help others do the same with different types of alopecia, men, women, children of all ages, of all races and ethnicities. Hello, and welcome back to the Alopecia Angel podcast, Awaken to Hair Growth. I'm your host, Johanna Dahlman. In this podcast episode, I have had the opportunity to connect with a client and showcase how this 50-year-old male, father, grandfather, and businessman has been able to heal and reverse his alopecia in 5 months. He had over 16, 17 spots all over. His eyebrows started to go away. It's all started in his beard. And he details his story. He details how he healed, and he details so much more about his life. So you don't want to miss out on this amazing episode. I'm in utter gratitude because this week alone, I've had 3 encounters with clients who have healed completely or who are on the path of healing. And it's just such a beautiful testament of what's possible, not just for me, not just for them, but for you too. So if you're still on the fence and you don't think that this is going to work for you, just listen to Jason's account. And for those of you who are women or moms listening to this, I love hearing the perspective of a man, of a grown man, and how this too affects his confidence, how this too ripple effects into family, into personal, into business, and into everything else. So listen to this. You won't want to miss it. Talk to you soon. Here you go. Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Jason. How are you?
Oh, just awesome.
I saw on social media that you left me this really great message there about how you followed everything that I had said. And in 6 months, now you're full head of hair and living your best life, crazy healthy.
Oh.
And give us a little background. What type of hair loss did you have? When did this start? How long have you been going through this? Give us your full story.
I would probably say it's probably 2 years to today. When I first found out, it was right around Halloween 2021, I started losing like little patches in my beard. And I just thought, hell, I'm getting old. I'm 50. I was 48 then. And I'm like, oh, it's probably just something I'm getting old because I've been bulletproof my whole life.
So you're 50 today and this started 48?
When I was 40.
You thought automatically it was age.
Yeah, I just thought immediately it was age. Didn't even really, I've never had an issue with anything other than I played a lot of sports and I've had surgeries here and there and fixed ankles and knees and that kind of stuff. But I've never had an issue with my health. My heaviest I've been was probably 190 pounds and I'm only 5 foot. I'm 5'9".
Pretty stout.
Yeah, so I was soft, but it's still a little, I could still push my truck out of the intersection if it ran out of gas. I was some stuff. I golfed a lot. I coached my kids in golf, baseball, football, basketball, all growing up. So I'd stayed pretty healthy, but I never had an issue with something like that or an autoimmune.
So who diagnosed you?
Myself, like I started losing hair and I thought, hell, I better go get this looked at. And I went right to a dermatologist. Beyond my wife's recommendation, she's been holistic kind of her whole life. And I've always teased her about it. I've always been the guy that I could drink till 3 a.m. and take an ibuprofen when I go to bed and wake up ready to go again.
You can't.
That's probably one of my problems. I'm like, it's never going to happen to me. And then that started happening. I went to a dermatologist. He immediately just gave me shots. I thought, you have alopecia. And he goes, if you could bottle this up, you'd be a billionaire if you sell this to women. That's what he told me. If you bottle this thing up and give it to somebody that doesn't want the facial hair or they can put it on their body and never have hair again, you'd be a billion. Doesn't sound that bad. They gave me a bunch of shots and it just kept getting worse. And fast forward, it just started just right around here. And I always have a goatee. So it didn't really bother me up here. I just shaved and carried on for about the next 6 months. And then my wife actually cuts my hair and she's like, hey, you got a little bald spot in your head. Mm-hmm. And by this time I'm like, all right, this ain't gonna fly. So I really started digging into it. I went back to the dermatologist. He started giving me shots. And here, take this. These creams that you see on TV that have side effects that could kill you.
It'll ruin your marriage. You're so young still. It'll ruin your marriage.
And she's, don't take that. Don't take it. Just read up on it. And that's when I started reading up onto it on you. And I found you. Even after that, the dermatologist stuff, I spent thousands of dollars. I bought cream that was in a tube about that long for $1,200 saying
Oh.
this is going to work. So I did it and it didn't do anything. It just kept getting worse. And I probably lost. I even bought that stuff from that dude in Israel that sends that doctor in Israel. It's like
The serum, yeah.
and I tried all that. I still have a couple of those left. I don't know why, but just as a reminder not to do that again if it happens again.
So how bad did the hair loss get? So you started with the beard and then it moved
Yep.
into the head and then you were just getting really concerned.
Yeah. So I had a couple little spots in the back. Wasn't really too concerning. After that happened, about 3 months later, like it really started, like it kicked into high gear. I probably lost about a third of my hair. I counted probably 16 or 17 spots. And I'm a professional, like I'm a salesman. I have to go see people.
Appearances matter.
Yeah, I started really digging into stuff and I started listening to your podcast and all that, just reading your stuff and following you and your podcast just literally changed my life. And that's why that's nothing but awesome things to say. And I can't even believe I'm sitting here talking to you. It's crazy. That's just awesome. And it's great to be able to say that to your face.
Thank you. It's the second one, the third call I have this week. 2 other calls were with clients as well, who they went from alopecia universalis to full. One went to full hair growth. The other one just finished the program. But by week 3, she already started seeing hair growth, and she's an actress. And so appearances are a big deal in her industry.
Right.
But I think in any industry, in any way, shape, or form, even if you're a mom who just stays home, or even if you're just a child who's in preschool and has no idea of what's going on, appearances matter because people treat you differently upon their perspective or their knowledge or ignorance of alopecia, right?
Absolutely.
And so anyone with a skin disease or skin anything, and because alopecia is still intertwined, right, with the skin and the scalp and everything, it's, ooh, I don't want to get close. Maybe it's contagious. Ooh, I don't want to touch it. You know what I mean? Sometimes when I was going through alopecia, I felt like a leper in that way from old times when leprosy was a thing. You feel almost outcasted very much. And in many ways, with other health conditions, you can feel outcasted. But when it hits the appearance, because you can hide, I was actually saying this to somebody else yesterday, you can hide your back pain, you can hide your arthritis, you can hide your migraines, you can hide all these things that happen internally, but you can't hide like the skin issues, you can't hide the hair loss, you can't hide the patches of the beard or the head or the loss of the eyebrows. Did you lose any eyebrows or eyelashes by any chance?
I pretty much had all my hair was grown back. It was still thin. It was weird. It grow back white. And then it would all just come back because I had a big spot right here on the back of my head. And it grew back completely white, but it was there. Then it started getting darker. And when that happened, I got this little tiny bump on my eyebrow right here, just like about the size of your pinky, half of your pinky nail just went away. And I'm like, this stuff coming back. I'm finally got a control of this thing, and now I'm getting this. But I lost a little bit. Thank goodness my daughter does lashes and eyebrows for a living, and she fixed me up. She put a little dye in there and it was fine.
Now you're 100% back. No more areata, full beard, full head of hair, because you're wearing a hat. We don't know.
Oh yeah, it's 100%.
So what did you do for work? Because work doesn't stop. You still had those business meetings. You still had important things to do. You're in sales, correct?
Yeah, I got real good and found real good products to hide that. Because I have real dark hair, so it was really easy to hair or lighter hair. You can't hide it. It would be pretty hard to hide that, especially how bad I had it. I had a spot on my head that big around, right off of it. And I had one right here in the front. And it was just color it. I just color it and just do it how I usually do it. I could tell, but I don't think anyone not looking for it could tell. You know what I'm saying? I don't think there's a lot of people that really knew that I had it. But another one of the problems is the kind of what it does to you when you have. I thought, heck, I don't think something would bother me, but it really does. We go boating a lot, about every weekend. I lived in Heber, Utah, by Park City, Utah, and there's lakes all around, and we'd boat every weekend. And I think for 2 straight summers, I never got in the water once because my makeup wear off, or I didn't want anyone to see it. Even though my family knew, it still bothered me. And nothing's really bothered me about it, like my parents or anything. I've always been all right with it, but that bothered me. It is embarrassing. It was almost like what you said. It makes you feel like you have a disease. Some people look at you funny and treat you different.
They do. Unfortunately, they do. A lot of it, again, is knowledge and ignorance. that, it goes hand in hand. But because you're a small percentage, so for people who have the autoimmune alopecia, only about 15 to 20% are men. Why is that? We don't know. But for autoimmune disease in general, and in particular alopecia, 80% is women. And so from a man's perspective, hearing your feelings, emotions, the day-to-day, having to cover up the bald spots, either on your head or beard or shaving, or having your daughter. How old is your daughter who helped you with your eyebrow?
3.
Recruiting essentially friends and family to help you during this process, to support you as your wife did with the diet and changes in general. It's quite fascinating almost to hear a male perspective, especially when they're more of an adult, because many times when we are healthy, we never have had any diagnosis. You and I are in the same boat. I've never had any diagnosis before alopecia. I thought I was on top of the world. I had my personal trainer. I was running. I was fit. I was tan. I just thought I was 100%. And you probably thought that you were 100% too, because nothing had come up until it did, until one day it just showed up and then it starts to get worse. And at what point did you find me? How did you find me? And how did this rabbit hole of searching, because it's not so easy, right? You're immediately predisposed to go to the doctor, that these things aren't working, even though the $1,200 cream isn't working, that all these other serums from Israel and everywhere else aren't working. So how is it that you found me and that you're like, this is it?
It was a last ditch effort because I tried it all. You know what I'm saying? And
I hear that a lot.
But it's because it's a life changer, right? It's literally, you have to change your life to do it. And there's a lot of people that won't do it. They can't do it. That's the last resort. I found you right out of the gate, actually. My wife is, like I said, about as holistic as you can get. She actually does foot zones. Actually started bringing my color back in my hair. She told me to go get a foot zone. And you know what a foot zone is? Where release like your lymph nodes through your feet and
drain it.
Yeah, I'm thinking, you're nuts. Someone's gonna push on my feet and make this stuff work, right? That's not me. But I went to her, and since I've been so in tune with my body over the last couple of years, I felt different. It made me feel different. I went to her probably 3 or 4 times, and I started getting, I don't know if it's just coincidence or what, but this big gray patch that I had in the back of my head literally started turning black and dark, the color of my hair. And my wife, she's always wanted to do that. And I'm like, well, go for it. She's been a housewife her whole life. She's dealt with his kids. I'm like, I don't always tell her to go get a job. I don't care if you don't even get paid, just go out in the adult world and interact with adults, because you've done nothing but interact with children your whole life. Now my kids are older, and she said, maybe I'll just go do this foot zone thing. I'm like, go for it. So she went and did it. And I got to hand that to you, because if I didn't find you and this didn't happen and I got fixed by you, she wouldn't have done this, do her foot zone thing. And I'm telling you, that is that's her calling. Everyone's got a superpower. Hers is healing. Yours is healing.
You gotta stop using age as an excuse, because I'm sure, because you do listen to my podcast, you'll know that I have clients who are 65, 60, 75. They do the program and they see hair growth. So it's not an age thing. And I'm in my 40s, but I don't feel 40, nor do I look 40. I get this all the time where people think I'm way younger, and I feel younger. I always say I feel like I'm in my 30s or like 29. I don't feel, nor do I look in my 40s, mid 40s at this point. I feel like I'm thriving. And just like you, I feel like this is like the best version of me because of alopecia, because of it, because there's no other way.
I ran a 7-minute mile on my 50th birthday. And I couldn't even do that in high school. I wish this would have happened to me 20 years ago.
I say the same thing. It's so interesting. And maybe it is because we're in our 40s or mid-age at this point, where you almost wish it happened earlier so you could save yourself the time and the suffering and learn the learning lessons early on, and then have an amazing rest of your health and hair and life from now till who knows when, right?
It obviously happened for a reason. It's thank God you're around, because I'd be in trouble right now.
Thank you. I appreciate that. How long did it take you from start to finish? So once you committed, right? Because it's a big commitment to you and to your life. Once you committed, how long did it take you to heal and start to finish?
I'd probably say a good solid 6 months. I didn't have to put another ounce of makeup on my head. Was probably, I'd say, between 5 and 6 months.
That's nothing. It's nothing. I did 4 years, a little bit of hair growth. And then it took the actual hair growth to fully come in. 6 months is nothing, start to finish. 5 months, that's amazing.
It was great. And I'm still there's still a few effects. I just barely started growing my beard back. And I had guys made fun of me all the time, but I had my beard back and I didn't care. I don't care what it looks like. It's there. I could feel it and I felt normal for the first time in a couple of years. And like I said, I don't know if you can see it, but it's a little gray because I'm an old guy, I think. A lot of gray hair in my family, but it's starting to come back a lot more darker. And even the sides of my hair are coming back in a lot more darker. And I never really had any issues on the sides, thank goodness, just down on the sides and the back. But it was mostly in the very back and on the top. And I could manipulate my hair to where you couldn't really tell once my makeup was on. But out of the shower, I'd look at myself. I looked like an absolute wreck. I'd probably say I lost probably a third of my hair.
No, yeah, that's a lot.
It was a lot. And it was hard. I'm telling you, for the 6 months, I still had little few dots here and there, but just tiny ones that I only knew about. My hair covered. I didn't have to worry about it, to the point where I didn't even check anymore. You know what I'm saying? Every single day, I would wash my hair in the tub, leaning over the tub, just so I could see how much hair I lost. It was consuming me. And when you get to the point where it starts coming back and you're feeding it and you don't have that stress, it's even better. Yeah.
There's ways to mitigate situations in life because life is going to continue to happen, right? It's just all about how we approach it, our perspective and our mindset around it. When you nip it in the butt, just like you did, and after going through so many doctors and dermatologists seeing that this is not the way, but then when you're like, okay, I'm committed, you'll see results. You really will.
Yeah, everything. It's the stuff that you don't realize that you do, even as far as judging somebody, that you don't realize you're judging somebody through the whole kind of journey that gets fixed along with it. And there's a lot of stuff like that I've realized that it fixes itself when you get on the right page. I wish I had 25, 30 years. I feel like I could live till I'm 100 years old. And I've never had that feeling. It's like you just do what everybody tells you, but you're taught a certain thing.
Naturally, if we're doing our job, our body does its job.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
The funny thing is, a lot of people say, oh, I want something science-based. I want something science-based. But what they misinterpret as science-based is pharmaceuticals, which is processed, derived for the most part by plants, but definitely mixed in with other things. When we are forgetting about the biology of our own anatomy, we're missing the part of biologically how we perform and how to enhance performance, whether that's eyesight, movement, lack of arthritis, hair growth, etc. Like the biology is innate. That is science. It is part of the sciences. And I think a lot of people misinterpret diet and lifestyle for something else. And I'm like, no, it's part of your biology. It's all part of you. Mind, body, emotional health, mental health, physical health, it's all connected.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I've had clients who are 5 years old, 6 years old, 2 years old, 8 months old, and they have alopecia.
That's crazy. 8 months old.
8 months and they're breastfeeding. And that's all they've had is breast milk. So this is the thing where it's just rampant in terms of the lack of knowledge, the gap in knowledge between, let's say, the medical system, nutritionists, dietitians, medical doctors, et cetera, to what's really going to empower us, to what's really going to keep us healthy, because for sure it's not that food pyramid that they're offering. For sure it's not the government guidelines of what's healthy. Even in my kids' daycare, I don't even abide by their rules. My child has his own lunch, has his own snacks. Like we do it our way because it's our way or no way.
I have that much control over 20-year-olds, but I don't.
They'll learn at some point. They'll learn. And that's the thing. Everyone's on their own journey, right?
Yeah. And that's my wife has told me since for 26 straight years, you need to eat better. You need to do this. You need to do that. I'm on the road. I'm doing this. I'm playing golf. You're going to have all they have is a hot dog and a case of beer. That's what we do. That's not what I do anymore.
Consistency is key. When you're consistent, everything begins to flourish. And this is why I've been able to have my child at 40 years of age with a fantastic pregnancy and postpartum and not have to deal with anything. And I've had clients, unfortunately, where they've had 10 miscarriages, or they've had 5 or 6 miscarriages, or they've had fertility issues. And so it does creep into every area of life, male or female. And this is, maybe people are listening to this and they're like, oh, I'm done having kids. Like you're done having kids. But at the same time, it's just like fertility is much more than just having kids. It's also keeping your marriage alive. It's also being active. It's also doing golf. It's also having that self-confidence, not being stressed over this. It's also not trying to count the hairs in the bathtub. It's all these things that add up to the daily life where you could be spending more time with your grandkid than in the tub trying to either wash your hair or cover up the spots with the makeup, etc. It's an overarching thing. And health, it is priceless. And I think when you are given a diagnosis, any diagnosis, but clearly one that affects you on the outside as well as on the inside on various levels, it does hit home and it does reprioritize you and what you want in life, because health for me is also number one. And it's very easy for me to say no to the hot dogs and to all the garbage. Yeah, it's just very easy. It's, like you said, it is a no-brainer.
Yeah. And another reason why I'm doing it is it's more of an exercise for me, because it's pretty easy to fall back into bad habits. But it's easier when you're all healed up and you feel great, it's easier to do that. I am a creature of habit. If I like something, I'll do it.
We all are. This is the problem. We all are. But our habits are not necessarily fueling us or feeding us correctly or even doing us good in any way.
Having that much information out there for somebody to get on the right track, it's priceless. And I appreciate that.
I appreciate you. And I do this just because I love hearing these stories. I love talking to you and to Noah and to Juliet and everyone else who has a beautiful story, because the fact that all of you have been able to do this in less time, in less than 4 years, without the struggle, without the excessive, unnecessary amounts of tears and fears and uncertainty and what am I going to do and how am I going to get this done? Because we all have busy lives. You have a full-time job, you have a family, you have a wife, you have kids, you have grandkids. Everyone has full-time activities and things to do. And so how do we get to A to Z in less time? And so this is why I asked you specifically, because in 5 months, imagine that, being healed and whole, no more 16, 17 bald patches all over your head like a cheetah. Mm-hmm. Now you're done and complete. And on top of it, you're feeling like better than when you were 20. This is huge. This is huge, not just for you now at 50, but for the rest of your life when you're 80 and 90 and 100 and 120 and et cetera. So I commend you for doing the work, right? Because that's what it takes, effort. Everyone needs to put in their own effort, right? It's not just buying Nikes and saying, I'm going to go running, having the Nikes there and putting them on, because I can't run for you. Like, I can guide you and run along with you, but I can't run for you. And so this is the beauty that you can do this. You've done it. You're a success story for everyone who is going through alopecia, everyone who maybe sometimes doesn't see the light that it's possible for them. And yet here we are, 50-year-old man, father, grandfather, businessman, and yet can find the time, can find the investment, can find the commitment to take care of himself, and has accomplished it easy in less than 5-6 months. So I commend you. I thank you for the kind words. It's so satisfying to be able to speak to you and to speak to all my clients and to see how everyone just blossoms, right? Because going through alopecia does put us all in a dark place. And it's beautiful also to hear it from a male's perspective, because we're all human and the human experience is real. And the human experience, regardless of gender, regardless of age, it's happening and it's happened to all of us who go through alopecia. And so it is a human experience. And I'm so happy to see you thrive. I'm so happy to see you with the full dark hair. I'm so happy to get that message, and that we were able to connect via social media, and that we were able to connect through the program and through the knowledge. But again, it's really you. It's your commitment and your effort, because it's all for you.
I wouldn't have had any idea about it if it wasn't for you. I've been telling my wife, I'm like, I have a meeting with Johanna on Thursday at 2:30. Like all week it's like, I can't even believe I'm going to be talking to her. I was just a nervous wreck. And I've met a lot of real popular people in my life, but like, you're the one that really made an impact on my life. So I got to hand it to you. It's awesome. Your work, what you're doing it's priceless. And to put it out there, like I said, just enough to get you going. And for me, maybe I didn't have it as bad as somebody else, but maybe in record time, I have no idea. Well, all I know is I couldn't have done it without you. And you helped. My wife's been trying to make me see the light, and I had to go through this to actually see it. And if you weren't there, it wouldn't have been that extra push off the cliff. And I appreciate it. I can't say more nice things about you. And if anybody asks me how I did it, your name comes up every single time, because it's the truth. And it's not really, I don't really consider what I did work, because it's what we should be doing. And that's what I need. It was awesome.
I'm happy to be of service. Thank you so much for the kind words. What would you say is on the fence? I get a lot of people who ask me like, oh, is this going to work for me? What would you say to somebody who's on the fence of joining the program?
What's it going to hurt? It's not just alopecia. I have friends that have autoimmunes. What's the gluten one?
Celiac.
But I mean, telling a 25-year-old that, it'd be like telling a 25-year-old me, I'd be completely bald by the time, truth be told, I'd be completely bald by the time I started actually thinking about it when I was 25. But yeah, it's such a blip in time. It's nothing. I'll wake up tomorrow and it'll be 6 months from today. That's how fast time goes by. And that's what I tell them. It's just suck it up and do it. It's your life. It's your health. There's nothing more important. You can't come to work if you're not healthy, but you can't do what you want to do if you're not healthy, whatever it is, even if it's just sitting on your butt playing video games all day. If you feel like crap, you still don't want to do it. But it's funny. I feel like now with me doing that program it's the byproduct was getting my hair back. You can live without your hair, but to be as healthy as I feel and how good I feel, you can't buy that. It's just nothing. You physically have to do it. You can't just go buy it and be healthy, but it takes work and exercise and all that. I just can't believe people don't do it. I can't believe everyone doesn't.
Because we're not taught. That's the problem. We're not taught. I was not taught nutrition. My family, truth be told, isn't on board with a lot of things that I do or teach or preach. And it's because, again, people are creatures of habits, and it's no reflection on my family, but it's just that they don't want. But we'll see until the diagnosis happens. Once that diagnosis kicks in, whatever that may be, maybe that'll light a fire, be like, okay, time to get healthy. Who do I call? I know I'll be on their speed dial. But that's just the way it is, though. We think we're okay until we're not. Right? Or until we get a diagnosis, or until we feel really bad, or it's really crippling us in one way or another, then we'll do something about it. It's your car. You won't do anything about the car or the house or anything else that you own or that you use on a daily basis until it just completely stops running, or completely, like, you have to pay attention to the leak in the house, or you have to pay attention to, I don't know, the termites or whatever it is that's going on. You don't do anything until you actually have to do it. That's the thing. Like the maintenance on houses and on our bodies and on our cars, it wears. It's not always that we're doing our oil changes at 3,000 miles. It's not always that we're doing what we need to do for us as well. And so this is part of the conundrum of that.
Absolutely. Your check engine light analogy, I think I use that probably every day. It's your check engine light. If you drive with that on, you could burn your motor up.
Yep.
And that's it. It's the best analogy ever. I feel like I'm so in my body now. I know exactly what I can and can't eat. And best feeling ever. Because, you just got used to feeling like crap after you eat. And now I don't ever feel like crap. I know exactly what I can eat, feel great. I can eat a 4-course meal or whatever I want to eat and still feel great after. But it's not nap time, or it's great. It's just awesome. Like I said, I wish I could have done it 20, 30 years ago.
I know. Are there any other last parting words, feedback, anything else that you'd like to share?
Just thank you. You're awesome. You alone put 20 years back on my life. That's how I feel. And I appreciate that. No one else would have been able to talk sense into me. You speak my language, and I appreciate you just putting it out there. And like I said, your podcast, your book was awesome. It is almost like you wrote it for me. That's how I felt reading it. I've read it probably 3 or 4 times, just to retain it, because that's me, and I just appreciate it. It's crazy. You're my favorite movie star.
Oh, thank you. You're so sweet. You're so sweet. It's such a blessing. And sitting where I'm sitting, it's such a blessing to be able to use something horrible that happened to the benefit of others. It's such a blessing to see how I can help others and how I can impact not just you who lives in Utah, but so many other people in over 66 countries in different languages.
How many people that you've helped? You're probably one of the only people, I'll bet you're probably the only person I know that actually sleeps good. You know what I'm saying?
I get woken up by a 2-year-old.
Actually, I have 4 kids, so I know what you're talking about. When you do sleep, I'll bet you sleep just fine.
He's a blessing. I love him. Oh, I'll take the wake ups any day. He's a blessing. Doing what I do is such a blessing too, because it really upsets me that no one gave you or me or anyone else with alopecia the option to think that we could heal naturally, the option to think or believe that it was possible without the help of a doctor, without the help of a pharmaceutical, or having to use all these other gimmicks that just ruin your life. They really do. I think that fuels my fire to really get the word out. It fuels my fire because yes, pharma is really big. Yes, the medical establishment is not going to change anytime soon. But at the same time, there is possibility to have small amounts of change, whether that's me helping you and then telling somebody else about the podcast, or telling about somebody else who you may see in your daily life who may have alopecia, that you could spot it out and be like, you can heal. You don't have to go this other route. And so I think word of mouth is huge. And I think once more and more people start to believe that it's possible for them and see that it's an option, then they'll be more inclined to take that route and also help them and their loved ones. Because just like you want to help your kids get healthy and be their best selves, we all do. As parents or as people in general, we want to help others. And that's, I believe, our calling to life. This is why we're all, I believe, put on this earth, is just to help others, to help everyone and to everyone be their best.
I totally agree. And that's, that fuels your fire. Like your fire spreads. It spread to me, and how many hundreds of people that has an ailment, any sort of ailment, you're rubbing off on more people than you probably could even imagine. And like I said, you're heaven sent to me. You're that last shove that I needed to get right. And like I said, I wasn't that guy. I was go right to the doctor. What prescription can I have? That's just what we're taught. And people that I talk to, they're like, you have changed. What in the hell happened to you? That because I've never been the healthy guy. Do this, try this, do that. And it's all I know is it works. I know for a fact it works. I'm living proof of it. And that's, I tell these guys, especially my friends, stuff that have issues, I'm living proof of it. Why don't you just do it? It's literally a couple of months out of your life. But you're going to wait, like I said, you're going to wake up tomorrow and it'll be 6 months from today and you're going to wish you did it. And it's just tough for people to make that change. And I wish it was a law. Like for 1 month out of the year, you had to eat right. People would actually see it. I'd put a lot of people out of business, but all big pharma, fast food restaurants, but who cares? There's no use for that other than buying ice at McDonald's for $1 a bag. That's the only reason I even go there. You get a whole bag of ice for $1. That's it.
I thank you so much for your endearing words, for your kind recommendations, and just for being another testimonial, another testament to what's possible. I love hearing about your story. I love hearing your kids and your wife. And it's such a coincidence, though. I see this time and time again, where people need to learn the lesson, A, on their own terms, B, when, as they say, when things hit the fan, but then also from a third unbiased person. So the fact that your wife or your kids or whoever was telling you, oh, you need to get healthy, you need to do this, you need to do that. It's like everyone, right? Not just you, everyone just puts that to the side. If like my mom was nagging me, I would just put what she says to the side. But then it's like when something happens to us, then we're like, okay, who can help me? And then you see the guru and then you're like, okay, I'm following everything. And lo and behold, it was along the lines of similar as to what this family member or loved one was telling us.
Oh yeah. You start listening to what people actually have to say. And because I figured I knew it all. I've been there and done that. I'm old enough. I've been around the block 40 times. And then something crazy like this happens and nobody can fix it. And then when you get it figured out, it was relatively pretty easy. And the byproduct of that is just phenomenal. But like I said, I think having my hair back is a byproduct of my health. I would have done it strictly just to feel better. Even if I didn't get my hair, like I said, if I didn't get my hair back, I thought I was already a pretty good dude, but now I'm a healthy, pretty good.
Well, there's always room for improvement. I've learned that. So I'm obsessed now with improving myself in every way. I'm obsessed. It's just like trying to find the time to do it all, right? But you're inspiration. So I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for your story. And I can't wait to share this with everybody on the podcast.
I appreciate it. If there's anything I can do for you, you let me know. I'll be there in 2 seconds.
Just spread the word. Healing is possible. Just spread the word.
So I'm already doing that, but I appreciate it. It's an honor to talk to you.
Oh, you're so sweet. I love hearing your story. This is the human aspect that I love and I cherish with doing this, because sometimes working and creating is a very solo endeavor. But then when I get to see the fruits of my labor, then it comes in inspiration. It comes with talking to people from all over the world and hearing their stories and how it started and how it finished. And then I love the happy endings. I used to tell my sister, don't watch too many Disney movies because they're not real. The Prince Charming is not going to come save you. And I still believe that. Prince Charming is not going to come save you. Sweet your feet. But at the same time, I do believe on happy endings. And so when I see them, when I get to experience them, And this week it was 3 in a row. Like it's gotten me like all, I don't know, warm, fuzzy all on the inside. It brings emotion to me and I just love it. I absolutely love it. So thank you.
It's been, I've had the best years of my life or just the last 2 years as far as health and feeling good and wanting to help people more. That's another kind of byproduct of this is I feel like I want to go out and help. So like I said, if I can do it, anybody can do it. I'm talking anyone because I'm just not that guy to do it. And if, like I said, if I can do it, anyone can. And I owe it to you. My wife was a big part of it. She cooked a lot of my meals. She got real creative to make me feel normal and found stuff that I could eat. Your recommendations were awesome. And you just stick to it. If you just stick to it, it'll work. I don't care who you are. I know it'll work. And if it doesn't get your hair back, you'll feel 10 times better than you thought you've ever felt in your life. Take the best you've ever felt in your life, you'll feel 10 times better. And that you can't buy that.
This is true. It's priceless. It really is. Thank you again. You've been such a great inspiration. I love speaking with you and please keep in touch. Are you on our newsletter? I'd love to ensure that you're on our newsletter. Great. So you're getting our emails. You'll be finding out then soon enough when I'll be speaking because I have speaking engagements coming up in Dallas and Boise and at different health and wellness conferences. So I'm excited to share all those details here soon.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, let me know. Well, I'd definitely swing by and listen to you. That'd be awesome.
Sounds good. Sounds good. All the best to you and your family. Happy holidays as well. I
appreciate you.
My pleasure. I love what I do and I love helping and serving the alopecia community. So my pleasure. You take care.
All righty. You too.
Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the Alopecia Angel podcast, a positive light in healing alopecia. You can do this and we can help. Spread the word that reversing alopecia is possible by telling your friends and family.